Hello everyone, welcome back to ACVC Discussion and Development. So today I decided I was going to do a little bit of a different kind of video on design, of course. Well, as you've seen, I've already shown you that I do a lot of design work on different things. I do. Today, I'm actually going to turn around and go a little bit different. I'm not going to turn around and show you the design process on something you build physically, or what you're going to build physically, or something you're going to throw on a 3D printer or something like that. I mean, I'm not going to show you something like that today. What I'm actually going to go into is, because this still falls on the same grounds, I'm going to go into character design. So today I'm not going to do a drawing. Okay, I'm not going to do a sketch or drawing on this. Not on this channel. I may take it over and do a drawing that goes with this video and put it on my art channel. But character design sometimes doesn't actually have a picture, as far as one that you physically draw out. You can, if you're doing a comic, you kind of want to do that sometimes. But the biggest thing about character design to start with is actually creating the character. But creating him in a way where when you're reading it, you understand what you're looking at. Now, by far, I'm going to be honest, I enjoy writing and doing things like this. But, I'm probably not I'm not going to be the greatest one out there. I'm sure I'm not the greatest one out there for this. Okay? There are a lot of people who have had many, many more years of practice at this than even I have. Okay? I'm not that old, so there really are people out there who've had way more years of practice in writing and character design, things of that nature. But sometimes I feel like when you're watching other people on how they do this, I kind of feel like they turn around and forget to explain to you that you're not going to do it right necessarily every single time first go. They forget to tell you that it takes years of practice to really get perfect at it, to really get good at this, because it's something you work at. You work at all this, the designing, art, you work at it. Just plain and simple, I'm just letting you know. You work at it. And it's not something, you may have a skill, you may have a talent to do it. And if so, then you'll do really well and you'll pick up way faster. But still, it's going to take practice. It's going to take practice and training and many renditions. But right now, I'm not writing a story. I'm writing a character design for a story. So today, this is where we're going to start. And I hope you'll be able to see what I'm writing and so on and so forth. Okay? I do hope you will be able to. We'll figure that out. So first, I am actually going to put the date. I wouldn't normally probably do this. I'm sorry if my hand's shaking. It's the position in which I'm trying to hold this camera. So first things first, I'm going to start with the date right here. And the reason being is because there are rules and so on and so forth that, well, it's hard for me to explain all those to you. But so either way, it's January 30th of 2025. This is when I'm creating this character. I'm even going to go ahead and do this. Now, like that. Okay? DCWF. This right here is for today. This is for the day I film. This is not going to be the day I release the video. This is just for showing when I did this. Okay? Now, I'm going to do my best, because there's a lot of copyright laws and so on and so forth. I am going to create a character. Pretty much, I'm going to do my best just to create a character that's really 100% from my own mind. If there's a similar character out there, just to let everybody know, I honestly didn't know that. I've got a character idea in my mind right this second for design, and I actually would not know that there's another character that was... I wouldn't know this character already exists. Now, there's going to be similar characters. There's nothing I can do about that. That has nothing to do with copyright. That has to do with just reality. You can't turn around and not have characters that are going to be similar to other characters because there's been too many hundreds of years of writing and creating characters. So this is going to be similar no matter what to somebody. But this specific name, the specific everything, that part, that's me. That's my idea. I don't know of anywhere where this idea would have came out of, as far as the Lord gave it to me, and I don't know where else somebody would have had it. Okay, so just to let you know, I didn't turn and go look this up somewhere and take it from somebody else. Okay, now that I've finished rambling on, let's just turn around and get into this. So the first thing about a character, character design, you know, everybody's going to do this differently. I actually have a name first. That doesn't actually always mean that that's what I'm going to do. I have a name, though, to begin with, because it's just something I came up with. So I'm going to also type right up here, character design. Okay. Now, for those who turn around and wonder, pins do not have spell correct as far as built in, so if I misspell something on this video, sorry. This is hand, pen, and paper. This is not digital. This is not a computer that turn around and has built-in spell check. Okay? It comes in handy to turn just to get better at spelling and doing it by hand instead of depending upon a computer. That doesn't mean that I'm great at it. I'm not a spelling bee champ, I guess would be the right way of putting it. But so this is what we're going to do. Character design. So we're just going to turn and do this. And it doesn't have to be exactly written out this way, but I am going to go ahead and do it this way. Different people are going to do it a different way. So name of the character is going to be, and like I said, I came up with this name. And yes, that might look like a 5, but that's not. That's an S. So we're going to go with Stan. We're going to actually turn around and make his last name kind of interesting. Stan Almost. Now, with that, you could turn around and say, oh, maybe I'm making a comedy, or, you know, that you can make a comedy out of that or something like that. But like I said, I'm not doing a story right this second, or at least not exactly. The character will define what the story would end up being anyway. It really would. The main character. So let's say this right here is a main character. He's not a secondary character to someone else. He's a main character. So here's his name. Now, we can turn and go with an age. But you know, you might turn around and find, well, like this. I can put this down. I will. Age. And we'll turn and go with, let's go with 22. I mean, you know, you may find that you want to change that as you go along anyway. I mean, you know, now remember, this one is the character I'm designing. This is me giving you an idea of how to do this. This character, of course, you know, I'm designing it right now, so reusing it wouldn't help you any. This is just to give you an understanding. This right here, you may put it in. You may find that you want a character that you don't have a clue what the age is. I mean, literally, you might just put it in like this. You may literally put not applicable. You may not have a clue what age the character is. You may not want to know what the character is. So, and of course, you can put down, you know, you can put down male, female, depending on which character, what you want your character to be. I've already decided male, so I'm not gonna, well, yeah, actually I will. So, there you go, male. I'm just putting that down. Now, being that I am a guy, it does make it a little, it probably makes it a little easier for me to design male characters than it would female characters, but I can actually do a female character as well. But like I said, right now I wanted to do this one. This is just a character design, a baseline. So first off, got the name. We got the age, or at least what we think we might use. We might change that. It might become non-applicable. Male, and yes, I probably didn't say that correctly, but hey, non-applicable. Male. And then, let's see, so now here comes, this would probably get down to the nitty-gritty of describing what he would look like. So, let's say we're not gonna put a specific height on him. I've seen where you can do that, but I've noticed that sometimes that causes a big problem. It actually does. I mean, if this character design I did right now, if I turn and did it wrong, if I did it and put his height, people might literally, and then I sold this character to some company who wanted to use it for a movie or something, or if I wrote a book or something like that, and then I sold it, or, any number of things, and then they might actually fuss about the height. If the person who they got to play the part in a movie. And I've seen that happen one time on one of the movies I'm not going to talk about too much, because that would be something for a different channel, for one of my other channels. But I'm just not going to put an actual height. I'm going to put tall. We're going to turn and give a description of him. So we're going to start with tall. Now, of course, I could put these side by side and it would save up space, but I'm trying to make it where you can read it. At least a little bit. So, he's male, he's tall, he's young. We could literally just say he's young. I could have put down young man, I mean, seriously. Or I could have turned and said young adult, which would have probably worked out just as good. And you could just put adult, middle age, so on and so forth. So, I put down tall. Let's go with, let's see. I kind of want to say, well, I'm going to turn and go with, we'll go with white color skin. Which I know probably is, I'm sure that it could cause an argument with everybody. But, believe it or not, this right here is just, well, either way, this is character design. We're going with character design. I'm sure that there'll be plenty of people who want to scream about that, and there's nothing I can do about it. It's your opinion. If you want to scream about it, go ahead. But I'm just doing a character design here. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to turn and have a real long discussion about it. There's no point in arguing this. It seems to be something that everybody's been arguing about anyway. Already arguing too much about. So let's say he's male, he's tall, he's white. Let's go with, let's say he's skinny. I mean, seriously, let's say he's skinny. Well, better yet, let's turn and say he's not going to be fat, and he's not going to be skinny. He's going to be well built, muscled. We put fairly muscled, We'll just say built. I'm going to put it like built. You could actually turn around and go with muscular instead, but we'll say built. Okay, and now let's go with the color of his hair. Let's go with, let's go ahead and do something a little interesting. Let's make his hair color be, so for that, oops, H-A, like I said, there you go, hair, and we're going to do that, would be, let's go with red. Okay, believe it or not, there are red, and, you can have red. Now, I could go more detail. I could say, does he have a beard or something like that? You can. Let's turn and say, let's see, do I want him to have a beard? No, actually, I would say clean shaven. Clean shaven. So, let's see, what we got left? We got, we could turn and go with his eye color now. Okay, so here, beside the hair, we're going to go with eye color next. Alright, I'm going to put a little dash right there so keep it separated. And let's go with, let's just go with brown. I mean, it's kind of a simple thing right there. So let's review what we got here so far. We got his name, Stan Almost. We got an age, which honestly that could change. It just depends on how you feel about it at the moment in time, or how I feel about it at the moment in time. Right this second, I'll leave it at 22. Male, he's tall, he's white, he's built. You know, it means he's not no skinny little twig. But he also doesn't have to turn around and be the size of Hulk Hogan or even the Incredible Hulk. He can turn around, you know, so his hair's red and his eyes are brown colored, and he's a clean shaven man. So he keeps his beard and mustache. He turns around, he doesn't have one. He shaves. He keeps himself shaven. And keeps his face smooth. So as far as for that part. Now, we actually would turn and say, see, this right here, his age, could quantify what he looks like. But then, you know, for physical distinction, like, does he have a whole bunch of moles or something like that? You know, age can, you can use the age part to try and kind of define what you might think of. But at the same time, you could turn around and say, well, like this right here, it does see, this character is a fantasy character, not real. So, okay. So, like I said, we've got all this. We've done all this part. So, either way, we got this part. We got him clean shaven. Now, I could turn and go more in detail. Let's see. You know, we could turn and say something about his complexion. Let's, you know what? Let's not. Let's leave that part alone right this minute. Let's say we want to leave that alone right this second, because this right here is a good base. This is a good base just for giving a description, a little bit of a description of the character. Okay? But this only gives a description of what he looks like. It doesn't actually give a description of what he is, what his life, what his job is, what he does, you know, where he lived. So let's try and do that. Let's give a, since the character design, let's turn and do this. Let's give it a slight, well, basically like a slight story. Now I could add more in, but you know, I've got enough spaces. I got enough space to do that. Up here, I can add a few more things up here if I need to. So let's turn and go right here. Let's see. Let's turn and make it like a, I guess, biography. So, either way. So let's start with this. We'll turn around. What we'll do to create the character is we'll put ourselves in his shoes. That's what we'll do. So let's say, let's start with this. Yep. And now I can turn and put down I was born in whatever year. Now remember, I'm going to go ahead and flat out tell you, this right here is a fantasy character, and you can turn around, put as much realism in your character's designs as you want. But for me, I literally am going to make this where it's basically 100% of fantasy. So the years, everything, it's not going to be what you might would think. I'm going to do it my way, and that's just how I work it. So let's say, let's see. Nice. Actually, instead of in, we're going to go with on. Sorry if I'm a little off-angled. So there you go. Got that. Let's go with that. And let's see, go from there. let's, like I said, let's give it something interesting. Right here, we're gonna start giving something interesting. Let's see. Now remember, as you do this, you might turn and figure out that you want to do it a little different as well. So some of this I could even mark out. Let's see. And of course, I've been a few minutes into the video, so I'm not going to probably do too much more, but I'm going to try to speed this up as much as I can. So as I said, my spelling may not be quite correct, but don't worry, as you do and do this, your spelling will get better. So let's just stop there. So this right here doesn't give an exact of what he is now, what he's doing, but this gives a good start for what he is. Now I'm not going to give you, I'm going to go ahead and finish talking about it right here, and then I'm going to actually stop the video. I'm not going to give you the full character design. There's more that'll be put in. And I might actually complete this character. You might even get to see this character one day. We'll have to see. But like I said, I really wanted this as a start to show you how you do character design. And this can take a few minutes. This could even take a couple hours to actually get it all done. So we're going to stop on the actual writing part, and we're just going to discuss this real quick. So first off, we got his name, Stan Almost. Now you could say almost, or, being that you're like for me, I could turn and call him Almost. You can even turn and make some of these letters sound silent, because, you don't have to have it that way. And I mean, I've seen people spell their names certain ways and then say that it's actually translated a different way. And believe me, I actually do understand that quite well too, because I have my last name isn't something that people seem to get right very often. So we'll just say, I think I will go Stan Almost. It kind of gives it kind of an interesting twist, and it might work out to look a little bit more interesting. Now, some of this I could change. Yeah, I might. And then, like I said, we got his age, which could be, or I may just change that as well. And then his male, he's tall, he's white, he's built, red hair, brown eyes, clean shaven. Okay. Now, so I have it written down here, my name is Stan Almost. I was born on a little island in 2000 to a family which I do not even remember. Life was hard, and working hard just made it where you could get a small loaf of bread that was often hard, and before my 3rd birthday, I was the only living survivor on the whole island. Now, I could, some of that kind of seems like I jumped a little bit, but, like I said, I was trying to do this a little bit quicker. So, but I mean, look at it. You got a really good start to the character already. You got a time when he was born. So, if we did keep the age of 22, so, that means 2000 is 2022 now is what it would be on this right in the storyline. So, because like I said, this right here, this is a base for his character, but you don't know what the story of the whole thing is going to be. This is just for his character. This doesn't count what his life is or what life is like on the whole in the world where he's in. This just specifically counts his character. So then I go with, he was born on an island. Now, see, that gives an interesting thing right there, being that he was white and male and tall. It kind of makes you wonder, well, what island was he born on? And he doesn't remember his family because, well, I didn't go into it, but, maybe he lost them during, maybe they died before he was, like right after he was born. So he can't remember them. Or even when he was 3 years old, he may not remember them. But, you don't know. Now, this is for a storyline, and let me tell you, if there are any kids, well, I'm sorry, too late, but if there are any kids, well, yeah, this is for all ages. This isn't supposed to be for just kids or anything else. So, I try to make it for all ages, but I mean, even when you're designing a character, it's, sometimes it's a reality. Now, I'll probably put this, I might actually put an age range on this video because of this, because like I said, he's the only living survivor. That kind of gives you an idea. So, either way, you get a good start here. You don't actually know. I could turn it, if I change some, I may change something, or I may just keep it right here on this, and this might be what might be what I go with. This might be a good start. But now, see, I could also change it. I could change any of this that I need to. I can change time, I can change place, I can change his name. You can do all that. But this is the basic idea of how you create a character. I mean, you give them all this. Now, you won't necessarily get this right off, or this, or this, or this. You might turn around and have an idea of a location before you even get the character. So, but this is how you do character design, or at least this is how I do character design. Now, like I said, there might be stuff, I might actually do something with this character, and I might not. But right now, I have in mind to do something with it. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what the Lord says and what the Lord has to do, what the Lord says for me to do with it. So, like I said, I might change some of this later on. But this is a good way and a good showing of how you do character design. So, my name is DCWF, And I hope you have yourselves a great day. And I hope this did help you on your journey of design, of doing writing and all as well. And spelling, you'll get better at it. Just, keep looking it up and you'll get better at it. Have yourselves a great day. And, please like and subscribe and share the video if you want. Have a great one. So long.